Oh, kita kena silent.
Oh, lah. Sorry.
Dah. Assalamualaikum, Miss Farzana. We are from the MOHD A. Our group consists of NUUR HAIROL, Puteri NAQIBAH, NUUR RIHHADATUL'AISY, Tan WEASLEY, and me, Muhammad Aziz Ismail KOSNI. Our final assignment group presentation topic is Pro 2. Next, I will be presenting about the introduction. ISO, which is the International Organization for Standardization, is a worldwide federation of national standards bodies, which is ISO member bodies. The work of preparing international standards is normally carried out through ISO technical committees. Each member body interested in a subject for which a technical committee has been established has the right to be represented on that committee. International organizations, governmental and non-governmental, in liaison with ISO also take part in the work. ISO collaborates closely with the International Electrotechnical Commission on all matters of electrotechnical standardization. Next, the top management is responsible to create an organization which is responsible for the occupational health and safety of workers and others who can be affected by its activities. This responsibility includes promoting and protecting their physical and mental health. In Malaysia, one of the top performing ISO certification bodies is Integrated Assessment Services, which is IAS. IAS performs auditing and offers certification for several standards in Malaysia, including ISO 9001, ISO 14001, and ISO 45001. The IAS covers Selangor, Terengganu, Johor, Kedah, Kelantan, Pahang, Negeri Sembilan, Perak, Melaka, Pulau Pinang, Perlis, and Sabah and Sarawak. The important cities that Selangor, Terengganu, Johor, Kedah, Kelantan, Pahang, Negeri Sembilan, Perak, Melaka, and Pulau Pinang also been covered by IAS. If there is any company that want to make certification.
Hi, my name is Puteri NAQIBAH binti Ashidi, and I'll be explaining about the ISO 19001, ISO 14001, and ISO 45001. I'll be explaining about the similarities and differences. So first is, what is ISO 90001, 14001, and 45001? ISO 90001 is an international quality management system standard. ISO 90001 provides a solid basis for any firm that wish to consistently create goods and services that meets demand of its customer, while also continually improving their products, processes, and system to improve satisfaction. While ISO 14001 is an international standard of environmental management system that aims to provide organization with the elements of an effective environmental management process in order for them to protect and conserve the environment, adapt to changing environmental circumstances in a manner that balance socio-economic status needs and implement with other management system requirement. As for ISO 45001, it is a global standard for occupational health and safety management system, OHS. It will give a foundation for enterprise all around the world to improve employee safety, reduce workplace danger, and create a better, safer working environment. Next. So what are the similarities between these three ISO? So first is Plan, Do, Check, Act, or also known as PDCA. So PDCA is an improvement cycle developed by Walter Sheward and popularized by Edward Deming. This is a change implementation cycle that, if followed and repeated, will result in continuous improvement in the process to which it was applied. So how does PDCA works? First is the P, which is the plan stage. It is vital to identify any risks that could impact the business as a part of implementing the project. This is where they must think about both large and small risks and what consequences this could have on their business, and also consider what need to be implemented to mitigate any loss. And next is the plan. Next is PD, which is do. So this is where the plan will be executed. It is important to ensure all the employees have the correct training and equipment needed to implement the plan to the best of their ability. As for C, which is check, it is vital to ensure that the plan has been implemented as originally designed. In order the process of auditing, it is very important for them to document everything that they have done as evidence, where it will be presented to the auditor. And lastly is the act, where they will be review the success and failures they have encountered and learn how to improve on going forward. The evidence that they have gathered during the check stage is important here, and in order to obtain and maintain ISO certification, they will need to show during this stage that they are implementing any findings and improvement to ensure they achieve continuous improvement. As for compatibility, ISO 19001, 14001, and 45001 are all compatible, which means that an organization can be certified to all these three standards at the same time, because they all contribute to different aspects of the overall goal of improving the organization in some way. Furthermore, any organization, whether a startup, SME, private limited, national, or multinational, can adopt these standards. The third one is highlight performance evaluation and continual improvement. Every operational process or change implemented by an organization that has the potential to impact the effectiveness of their management system should be monitored, measured, and evaluated. Auditing is one of the performance evaluation required by each standard. As a result, continuous improvement is required to ensure the management system meets the requirements. Next is the systematic procedure. In the implementation of each management system, all these three standards are provided with similar guidelines. All total of 10 clauses are detailed in terms of the requirement that must be met. The arrangement of these clauses is the same for these standards, so organizations can be more acquainted with them when considering adopting than one of the standard. And last but not least is documented information. Documented information is a requirement in all three standards. It refers to all of the information within an organization that must be controlled and maintained by the organizations, as well as the medium on which they stored. They serve as a proof of credibility and critical to management system effectiveness. Next. So these are the differences between ISO 19001, 14001, and 45001. So there is policy and management system, where ISO 90001 is quality oriented, and ISO 40001, which is focused more on environmental oriented, and as for ISO 45001 is occupational safety and health oriented. So who is the target audience for this ISO? So ISO 9001 is targeting the customers, while ISO 14001 targeting the society and community. And also lastly, for ISO 45001 targeting the employee. Next is the leadership. So who does the ISO 19001 focus on leadership is to the customer. And as for ISO 14001, only demonstrate leadership in the environmental policy and management system. As for 45001, addition of consultation and participation of workers. In clause 6, there is planning. So these three standards have different planning, which is for ISO 90001, only address risks and opportunities. ISO 40001, take into account of environmental aspect, and also for ISO 45001, take into account about hazard identification, assessment of risk, and next slide, please. And opportunities and legal requirements. So for resource that it can be found in clause 7, and also for competence that can also be found in clause 7. So for ISO 90001, specifically emphasize on people, infrastructure, workplace environment, organizational knowledge. As for 14001 is not excluding financial, humans, infrastructure, natural and technological resource. As for 45001 is not excluding financial, humans, infrastructure, natural and technological resource. So for the competence, 9001, it has the basic competence associated with education, training or experience. As for 14001, emphasize on roles that can cause significant environmental impact and people that are responsible for the EMS. And lastly, for 45001, emphasize on skill and knowledge to identify hazards and handle risks in relation to adequate training. In clause 8, there is operation, where 9001 operation is to provision of product and services are centered around the customer requirement. As for 14001, enhancement of environmental performance is centered around how the organization and its external providers' activities are carried out. And lastly, for 45001, enhancement of occupational safety and health are centered around workers' requirement. Last but not least is the benefits. So for 9001, improve the quality of product and services. For the 14001, improve environmental performance, and also lastly for 45001, reduce workplace injuries and fatalities. Next, I'll be explaining about the differences in detail. So, discussion where the policy and management system. First is the policy and management system adopted by each standards differs depending on the type of goal they intend to achieve by complying with their respective standard. Organizations that want to improve their product and service production process will implement the quality policy and quality management system. As for 14001, organization that want to improve their environmental policy, environmental performance, and reduce the environmental impact will implement the environmental policy and environmental management system. And last but not least is for the 45001, the organization that wants to ensure the well-being of their workers will implement the occupational health and safety policy and OHS management system. As for leadership, customer focus is component of leadership in ISO 90001. The goal is to ensure that the customer are satisfied when they use the product and services. In 14001, is primarily concerned with developing a sound environmental policy and ensuring the effectiveness of the environmental management system. And last but not least is 45001, leadership entails workers' consultation and participation in order to enable two-way communication for receiving workers' feedback and allowing them to contribute to the decision-making process of the OSH performance. Next is the operation. All three standards have different key indicators that influence whether or not their management system is successful. The operational process of ISO 19001 include determining the requirement for their products and services, designing and developing, controlling the process of external providers, provisioning and releasing the products and services. As for 14001, involve controlling and mitigating environmental impact of their activity and outscored process. And as for 45,001, eliminating hazards and risks using the hierarchy of control, managing temporary or permanent changes to the workplace, and controlling the procurement of products of services from third parties. So benefits will for 90,001, the benefits is to help the company or businesses to meet their customer needs for a higher quality products or services, and also to have a better employee engagement and improve communication by having everyone to work together on one agenda. 45,001 45,001 benefits assisting firms with the help of systematic guidelines to increase performance and productivity of the organizations and improve organizational health and safety with the decrease in numbers of injury. And lastly, is for 14,001 is improve the environmental performance of supplier by integrating them into the business system, and also reduce waste, which focus on reusing and recovering energy from waste. That's it from me. Next, I'll pass to the next presenter.
My name is RIHHADATUL'AISY binti Mamazin. I will be present about background of company, which is Pro2. Next. As for other than Proton, the perusahaan automobil kedua Sdn Bhd is now Malaysia's largest automaker. PRODA is the abbreviation for perusahaan automobil kedua Sdn Bhd, which is pronounced as PER-ON2. Initially, they established their factory in Sungai Choh, Rawang, Selangor, on an 80-hectare plot of land in 1993. However, the public did not know about it because it would surely be compared against Proton, that was way ahead at that time, and received unhealthy criticism. But Prodo was already working on its first project in the dark. It was only on August 1, 1994, Malaysia's then Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad launched the opening ceremony of the first Proda factory in the country. It only took 28 days for the first Proda model, the Kancil, to make its appearance outside the assembly line. Proda Kancil was a huge success to the company that only focused on producing compact cars during that time. Next. Since the foundation for Proda was planted, it has partnered up with the Japanese car maker Daihatsu. Daihatsu not only supplied Proda with vehicle designs inspired by its own lineups, but also provided car's driving force, which is the engine, alongside other essentials like a transmission for Proda. As an automotive provider, Proda currently offers a comparatively moderate range of vehicle choices against other brands. Since its founding, 4 million vehicles have been sold out by the end of 2021, with 2019 reaching an all-time high of 240,000 cars sold yearly. As one of Malaysia's national car manufacturers, beside Proton, Proda's success mainly comes from providing Malaysians the accessibility to entry-level personal vehicle that is reliable, safe, efficient, and most importantly, being affordable for individuals earning average income. Pro2 unveiled new corporate logo on August 24, 1998, when it introduced Malaysia's first 4x4 vehicle, the Pro2 Kembara. The logo's design was created by Johnson Ng Weng Kwan, an architecture student from University Technology Malaysia. He won the competition organized by Pro2 that was looking for a new, satisfied logo. The old squarish logo with the P and 2 have been reconfigured into an ellipse that is more dynamic and fluid. The color has been taken up notch as well with adjusted quality. Green represents social responsibility for the environment and society, whereas red represents the creation of an effective workforce. workforce, and resilience in facing challenges in a globalized world. The emblem is proudly carved onto Prodo's latest cars. The 2007 version although retains the concept as the previous, but have been given additional details, add color saturation and added a shiny reflectance at the upper part of the logo, with the reinvention of the Prodo font into a slightly modern and slimmer style. You can see the figure at the slide. It's Prodo's history of logo from 1993 to now, until now. Next, next is achievement of Prodo. They have won the World Brands Foundation, which is the Brand Laureate Best Brand Award for 2016 and 2017. Moreover, from 2010 to 2018, Prodo has won at the annual Putra Brands Award in People's Choice Automotive category 6 out of 9 times, with the improvement of getting only bronze in 2010 all the way to getting gold in 2017 and 2018. Next. This is Prodo's models over the years. As you guys can see, the first one is Prodo Kancil, which is the first ever their models that published on 1994. Second is Prodo Klise, published on 2001. Third picture is Prodo Kenari, published on 2000. Then we have Viva that published on 2007. Then we have Produa Rusa, second model, which is on 1996. Then we have Proda Kembara that published on 1998. We have Proda Nautica, and now we have Asia, Myvi. Next. Then we have Alza, Beza, Arus, and lastly, the latest one is Atiba. That's all from me. I will pass to the next presenter.
Check, 1, 2. Hi, my name is Weasley. I will be presenting about ISO 14001 related legislation. So, Prodo has been accredited with the ISO 14001 certification. So for my part, I will be discussing about all the requirements in the standard that have to be complied by Prodo in the process before the company got its certificates. So I will just start from clause. There are a total of 10 clauses in the standard, but I will jump straight to clause 4 because the first 3 clauses are not very important. So the clause 4 of the standard is context of the organization. So for this clause, Prodo has to understand what is context and its position in the market. So Prodo mainly is the national car for Malaysia. And we can see that on the road there are many Prodo vehicles. I can say that almost 7 out of 10 vehicles on the roads are Prodo. It's not Myvi, then it's Asia or Beza. It's commonly these 3 types of car we seen on the road. So the Prodo's car are usually entry level vehicles, meaning that they are can be easily bought by low to medium income household individuals. And as a result, Prodo Perodua with the economic situation in Malaysia currently, and Perodua selling the cheapest car is able to attract more consumers and customers to buy its car. So there are many issues when Perodua wants to achieve the goal of its environmental management system, and I have categorized this issue into both internal issue and external issue. So internal issues are issues that can be controlled by Perodua is in the organization. For example, to achieve the goal of the EMS, Perodua's EMS, is the company mainly has to find a way to lower its carbon emission, enhancing fuel efficiency of the vehicles, and then Perodua also have to raise environmental awareness within its organizational culture, because if only few people are committed to the EMS, then it will not be very effective. And then for external issue, these issues cannot be affected, cannot be controlled by Perodua itself. They are outside factors. For example, government's policy, governments want you to do like that, then Perodua has to follow. This thing, Perodua cannot say no to this legislation. Then we have rising cost of sustainable alternative and materials. So Perodua is a car manufacturer, right? The company has to get materials from many suppliers. So currently many of the materials has been increased in prices and will be difficult for Perodua. So there are many internal and external issues, but I won't be listing out all at once. Just know the basic concept. Then we have relevance parties expectation. So to implement the EMS Perodua, we have to make many decisions, and these decisions will directly influence these parties. And so it's common for these parties to have some expectation on Perodua. For examples, Perodua's owner and shareholder obviously wants to have a profiting business and customer loyalties, and you also want Perodua to have a clear corporate goals. Then as for us customer, we don't care or not. We usually don't care or not how much carbon emission Perodua's car has reduced. We only care whether or not is fuel efficient, and whether it's cheap, whether it's safe, whether it's reliable. So these are the things that consumer like us care. Then partners, Perodua has a few partners, including Daihatsu, and at UK, Perodua also have working partners. So this partner, obviously they want Perodua to have a sustainable business. Then for supplier, because Perodua obviously signed contract with many suppliers. So as during the contract, they obviously want Perodua to have also sustainable business, not just provided them with the parts, but they cannot make the car they make cannot sell out. So their expectations should be taken into consideration when Perodua are deciding on its EMS . Then for clause 5, we have leadership. So currently the CEO and president of Perodua is Dato Zainal Abidin Ahmad. Is this one, bottom left picture. Then the chairman is Tan Sri Asmat Kamaluddin. This picture, and the above one is Dato Aminah Rashid Saleh. Is the before the Dato Zainal Abidin Ahmad he's the CEO and president. So leadership, also known as top management, they steer the corporate direction. So they have to show commitments in implement the EMS and ensuring it's effective enough in order to success. Then clause 6, we have planning, the clause for planning. So in order to achieve the PRODUA's environmental goals, I listed a few planning resources that PRODUA can use. The first one is risk management module. So risk management module is basically to evaluate all the risks and opportunities in the organization. Then second, human resources plan. Since PRODUA is a national company, right? So it will employ many workers. And if you hire the wrong workers who does not have sufficient environmental awareness, then it will be harder to achieve the outcome, the intended purpose of EMS. Thirdly, we have compliance module. So compliance modules consist of all the things that PRODUA has to comply. For example, national standards, government regulations, and of course, including the standards for environmental management system. All these things that PRODUA have to comply. So it will be stored inside the compliance module for PRODUA to see, or did I comply with all the rules and regulation. And lastly, PRODUA has to list out its EMS objective lah. So this I've mentioned just now is related to the EMS goal, like reducing carbon emission, making fuel efficient vehicles, and etc. So moving on, clause 7 is support, and these are the things that PRODUAs will need to carry out the EMS. So for resources include financial resources, human resources, infrastructures, equipments, software, hardware, these kind of technologies that used in day-to-day of PRODUA's operation. Secondly, competency training and awareness. So PRODUA actually have many takes training very seriously, and it has many training programs, and that I will show later. So when I combine competency training and awareness together, because when you train workers, when you are providing training to the workers, they will understand the importance of their roles in the EMS, and therefore, aside from increasing their competency and skill set, we also raise their awareness on environmental management system. Thirdly, is communication. So every organization, not just PRODUA, must have enough communication, because communication is part of the most important aspects in day-to-day life lah. And lastly, documented information. These are all the documents that PRODUA will need to keep to enforce the EMS. For example, PRODUA recently has introduced PRODUA Smart Build Blueprint that is sustainable driven. So its goal is also tied to reducing, increasing environmental performance and reducing waste outputs. Okay, so this one is this picture is taken directly from PRODUA's website. It provides transparency on what are the training programs PRODUA provides. So you can see that PRODUA also provides Sijil Kemahiran Malaysia SKM training, which is one of the government's initiative lah. So then PRODUA itself also has established several programs to train their employees. And then this one is also taken directly from PRODUA's website. This is PRODUA's Human Development Plan, and is focused for the manufacturing department. So these are all the, you can see on the left side, is start from the top hierarchy, manager, assistant manager, team leader, all the way to team member. So the human development plan involve the entire organization, not just focus on the employees. Then you can see that Product has listed out many elements that you need to obtain in order to success in the human development plan. So moving on, clause 8 operation. After all the talkings, this clause is finally takes Product to action. So to improve Product's environmental performance, obviously it has to establish operating criteria for process. This includes training workers to carry out activity in a certain ways to reduce emissions and waste, and providing them with the needed resource in day-to-day operation. And then Product also aside having to deal with its internal organization, he also has to care about outsource process. So outsource process is essentially all the suppliers, external third-party suppliers. They are not working in the same place as Product. Rather, is they imported, maybe they will buy parts and supplies from these third parties. So one example is Product's cars engine is currently manufactured by Daihatsu Product Engine Manufacturing Sdn Bhd. This is the company. So Daihatsu is a Japanese car, and so Daihatsu also is also certified ISO 14001, and it also adopted green purchasing policy. So this makes Daihatsu Product Engine Manufacturing Sdn Bhd a competitive partner against Product, and they can work together to enhance environmental performance. Moving on, we have performance evaluation. So when you already implement all the operation and process in clause 8, you have to evaluate it to see that whether or not your predicted outcome achieve or fail. So this include key indicators. For example, you have to measure your product's emission outputs, carbons, energy usage, materials consumption. Then for compliance obligation, you have to review whether or not all the compliance are obliged. Secondly, probably the most important thing, environmental audit. So why audit is so important is because that it gives Product credibility. You cannot just say that, oh, this year I already reduced my carbon emission by 50%, but you don't have proof. People won't believe, right? So it's also part of the process to get accredited with the ISO standard for this one. And environmental audit will also provide Product with to see whether or not there are any flaws, any loopholes, any errors in the operation and activity that has to be corrected. And then after you carry out the audit, you have to give it to top management to review. Top management have to see whether or not the way Product carries out the audit effective, and how Products carry out the audit, whether it's correct or not. And the last one is improvement. So this improvement essentially means that Product, aside from evaluating its performance, you also have to implement improvement when there are opportunities, right? So you can take audit as a reference to see which part of the operation can be improved. Then Product has to be more open to opportunities to present themselves. So there are many opportunities that can improve Product's activity. For example, when new talents join the organization, or employee give new ideas on how you can improve the environmental performance. Then maybe customer will also provide feedbacks. And maybe if the new vehicle model doesn't sell well, product has to reflect back on that to see what went wrong. So after these are all the clauses that product has to comply in order to get the certificate for this standard. So that is my part. I will pass on to the next presenter. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is sorry. My name is Mar. I'm going to talk about the environmental issue. Rhoda stresses the environment throughout the process of manufacturing and assembly. So, as a developing nation, the public's demand rise as time goes on. Rhoda's manufacturing will be heavily relied on the supply of raw and Malaysia's energy sector. But as we all know, automobile manufacturers primarily use aluminium, glass, steel, plastic, rubber. So all these materials that I mentioned are once part of our natural resources before become usable in manufacturing. And to get these raw materials processed, there needs to be a processing facility, which also energy for its activity. And it is not as simple as just using electricity to run the automation process. So likewise, all we know that the end of a car's lifespan does not mean the end of its environmental impact even after disposal. So commonly we know that mostly like car owners abandon their old cars without the proper disposal. So from here, all the plastics, hazardous battery acids, vitamins, and other non-biodegradable substances may remain in the environment and cause especially soil. So all of these things can disrupt the trees population around the waste. Alright. So as you guys can see, right, I put some figure that show of example car disposal. Next. Second environmental issue is over-reliance on petroleum. So as we all know, cars are still using gasoline as the main fuel, and it is the best selling brand of car in Malaysia. So that's actually not good for the environment because like you know that car emission like a lot of uh, hazardous gases towards the air. So from here, it can like disrupts our air environment and causes a lot of issues in human health. Next. Okay, lastly, products common get air pollution. So air pollution from water, as demonstrated in the figure, is caused by evaporative emissions of volatile organic compounds, VOC, such as hydrocarbons from fuel systems, as well as post-combustion chemical compounds that exit through the exhaust tailpipe system and the crankcase. Chemicals in the exhaust of unleaded gasoline engines normally include Cs, COs, and oxides of nitrogen. Particles associated to smoke are present in diesel engines, and VOC compounds such as formaldehyde are present in engines utilizing alternative as methanol. So exhaust emissions are affected by engine operations such as compression ratio, part timing, air or fuel ratio,
and post-engine treatment for. So hydrocarbons in exhaust are unburnt or incomplete burned gasoline and oil. So carbon monoxide is produced during combustion and is always present in trace amounts in regardless of the air or fuel. The bigger the fraction of the air or the greater the amount of carbon dioxide generated. So nitrogen oxides are generated during combustion, rise with peak combustion temperature, and are also affected by the air or fuel. So in short, all these emissions produced by internal combustion engine leads to serious global warming and exacerbate climate change. Apart from that, over-accumulation of these pollutants also our air can be detrimental to human. That's all from me. I'm going to pass.
Alright, my name is AZIM. I would like to explain about the conclusion of our final assignment. Produa has definitely prove its worthiness of holding the certification of ISO 14001-2015. As a business company, Produa clearly does not only strive for profits, but the organization also demonstrates its discipline in preserving the environment. At the same time, it is able to continuously satisfy its customers with new models that are high in quality and affordable. The environmental management system EMS is required by these international standards, which is very good for our environment. As a closing statement, standardization is the formula agreed by many that this is the best way of doing something. The ISO plays a pivotal role in coordinating these minor matters that make up our lives. Without its existence, chaos, confusion, and guesswork will be widespread across the world. As quoted by the ISO, great things happen when the world agrees. That's all from us. Thank you. Dah ke belum?